general consensus is that painkillers alone are the slippery slope that leads to heroin addiction. But what if I told you it wasn't that simple, that there are other indicators that are much more obvious?
So we wanted to see if we could figure out exactly what is this pathway to heroin.
John Lewis at IUP and Eric Koshin at St. Vincent College are criminology professors. Their question was simple. How and why do people become addicted to heroin? When does it all start?
There weren't a lot of studies that looked at the individual and his or her life before they became an addict.
They interviewed 158 people in Westmoreland County who admitted they had substance abuse issues. 128 were addicted to heroin. How many of those reported zero substance abuse issues before being prescribed painkillers? Exactly 1. These professors believe simply blaming the epidemic on painkillers is missing the point.
Really, the best pathway and the best predictor would be whether or not they engaged in early drug experimentation.
Koshin and Lewis avoid using the term gateway drug, but they say signs of early alcohol and marijuana use are primers for drug abuse later on. They can lead to abuse of other drugs, their study found, which can eventually lead to heroin addiction. The reason it's heroin that gets all the attention? It's the illicit drug that's most frequently killing people.
The people who were using alcohol at the age of 15, there were 55 out of the study. Out of those 55, over 90% went on to heroin.
Of all the people that we interviewed for this study, not one person transitioned to heroin if they followed the law with regards to their prescription medication and other controlled substances.
So what are the lessons here for these two professors? Part of it is psychological. In a time where there's a pill to cure almost anything, they say relying on illegal substances to cope as a child is an indicator you might do the same as an adult. Koshin encourages parents to intervene early if they suspect substance abuse.
And being connected is essential. And I have said time and again that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection.
These professors stressed that this was the first study of many that they hope to do in order to figure out what these indicators are early and maybe direct policy to fix that later on. They do hope to do a similar study next in Allegheny County.